Hey there, Postal here. So you may have noticed whether you're playing EU or NA, and I'm sure on the Russian server and the Asian server, on the World of Warplanes homepage, there is the information about the Antonov M Masha. This is going to be a new Tier 9 premium Soviet fighter that you can earn for free. But we're going to go over that in just a second. Just how free is it to be determined. I want to go over the plane first. Before, whether it's 35 missions. Let's just get that out of the way. 35 missions in 30 days, that's a lot. It's going to be a lot no matter how easy the missions are. It's going to be a lot. So before we even dig into the missions themselves, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the actual plane and see, is it even something that you want to spend your time on? I think the plane looks really cool, which is really annoying. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but it also looks different. So, there's those two things going for it. So this was an experimental aircraft developed by the Antonov Design Bureau. The Masha is equipped with 4 23mm aircraft guns. These are basically the Soviets' version of 20mm cannons. You should be pretty well used to these types of 23mm cannons. They're the same thing that you'd have on a lot of the Soviet planes up to this point. The original aerodynamic configuration provides an advantage in maneuverability in boundary flight conditions at maximum or extremely low speeds. That I'd like to put that to the test, saying that it's more maneuverable at super high and super low speeds. Makes me wonder. So the missions are from September 29th, which would be today. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I don't know if I'll get the video posted Tuesday or Wednesday, but this starts Wednesday morning through October 29th, whatever the heck date that is too far in the future. It's 30 days, right? 35 missions. You will receive the Masha plus some paint, of course, for your new aircraft. You may skip combat missions by purchasing certificates in the premium shop. Yay, I guess. That's to be expected. They're going to let you buy the plane for money. We'll have to calculate what those certificates, how much those certificates will, how much the plane will cost in certificates. If a Tier 8 premium is $50 plus, Tier 9 premium, and we've seen this before on the XF-85, it's probably going to be about $70 or $85, somewhere in that range, depending on the combinations. I don't know if purchasing just the certificates straight out will, be even more expensive. If typically there's not a discount in that regard, so it could be like $95 for all I know in certificates. I'm just speculating. Don't quote me on any of that shenanigans. We'll go over the missions in just a second. What I want to do is compare this plane. So here's plane long name. This is the Masha. What I want to do is compare it to two planes that I think it's pretty similar to, but in different ways. First, the Lavochkin, the LA-160. Honestly, when I looked at this plane just off the top of my head, it looks like what should have been the Tier 9 Lavochkin plane. When you go and you're looking at the LA tech line, you've got a long line of very similar planes from the LAG 3 to the LA5, LA7, LA9, that Tier 8, and then suddenly you have the LA-160, and then you get the LA-115. The LA-160 is the only Soviet plane in the game with two 30mm cannons. It has a pretty big jump in maneuverability over the previous Lavochkins, but those two 30mm cannons rub people the wrong way. The Masha, however, has those same four the 23mm cannons that you would have had on the LA9. So yeah, the guns don't really jump up, but you should be used to that process. So the Masha really feels like that's what should have been the Tier 9 Lavochkin. And then, the LA-15 continues with 23mm cannons again. So the LA-160 is pretty out of left field on that line. But I've got it in here to compare the stats. And then the everybody's favorite, well, not everybody's favorite, but a lot of people's favorite Tier 9 fighter is the MEP 1092. And I wanted to compare it to this as well. So, gun armament, you're going to notice right off the bat, these 4 23mm cannons that you have on the Masha, put it right in between these two planes. If we're looking at the Masha's actual guns, these do 170 damage per second, firing range of 800 meters. If we compare that to the 1092, the 1092's cannons, the top cannons, are going to pull in 200 damage per second at the same range. So you're getting about 120, not even about, you're getting 120 damage per second cumulative more on the 1092. Keep in mind, though, of course, the 1092 and the 1101, its Tier 10 brethren, are really built around the guns. The airframe itself is kind of sort of balanced, but not extreme in any regard. It's the cannons that make and break the 1092 and the 1101. If we were to compare it to the Lavochkin 160, the LA 160 has these two 30mm cannons. They do 300 damage a second. That's 600 damage total. So you're doing a little bit less damage per second, but you've just got that high chance of critical hits. Really heavy damage very quickly. The typical 30mm cannon types of shenanigans. So that's the big difference between these 4 cannons here and the 4 cannons here. It's going to be slight damage per second. Well, does the rest of the plane make up for that? Well, survivability, I don't really care about survivability personally on a fighter. Doesn't matter whether you've got 420 hit points or you've got 400 hit points. It doesn't really matter when you're being attacked by an HG2 or an XF90, or you're stuck behind the tail gunner of an EF-131. No, 20 hit points doesn't matter. So survivability, it's a moot point. It's 380 instead of 400, excuse me. Airspeed. Technically all exactly the same airspeed. There are some nuanced differences, though. And I'd really like to see rate of climb is going to be something that I put into airspeed. Even though Warp Gaming doesn't do that. Because rate of climb means, how fast can I go from super low altitude to super high altitude. But to be honest, there's not really a difference on the airspeed. Airspeed's sitting 69. Top speed at best altitude, yeah, it's a little bit higher, but it's nothing like crazy over the top. Maximum dive speed, the Masha has slightly less, but again, nothing crazy over the top. Your altitude performance, like I said, I'm going to roll that into it right now. The rate of climb is actually the best on the Masha, but again, it's not all that big of a difference. It's not enough for me to go, wow, that's crazy good. The biggest difference in altitude performance, and I know I'm bouncing around and I apologize, is going to be just the overall optimum altitude. The LA-160 is just it's a low altitude aircraft. The 1092 is, nobody would say it's a high altitude aircraft, but it's reasonably good on the altitude, right? I'd actually say it is high altitude, so we'll just go with that. The Masha is a mid altitude. The optimum altitude for the 1092 is at 2,500 meters. Your optimum for the Masha is 2,000 meters. That is pretty significant. And I don't know, you got to be aware of that when you're actually playing the planes. Your Masha is going to be something that you want to be in the middle ground. You need to be aware of if you're being attacked from on high. But it also looks like, looking at the rate of climb, looking at the overall speed, you can probably you probably can jump high from time to time, especially to attack a singular one-off type plane. But hopefully I'll get this plane, earn it, and be able to tell you if it actually does that. Alright, so far we've seen the guns are better on the 1092. The altitude performance is much better, I'd say. So hopefully the maneuverability is going to put us on par with some of the more tourney planes. The maneuverability is good, significantly better than the 1092. But it's not like, you know, crazy over the top. You've got more than a second average turn time over the 1092, so you definitely could easily outmaneuver a 1092, with a caveat that I'll get to in just a second. The rate of roll is kind of weak, considering you are you've got this triangular shape. It's going to have an issue with this actual rate of roll. The optimum airspeed is kind of low, kind of middling. What I like about this plane, though, is it does have a relatively low stall speed. What I tend to do, if I know a plane can outspeed me, is I tend to hit those air brakes and let them go flying past me. I think it's a Top Gun move. And, obviously don't just hit the air brakes and keep going in a straight line. You'll be dead. But hit the air brakes and try to turn in an odd direction. So on paper, just looking at the base of it, I'd say it's pretty well balanced. It does seem like overall it's going to be a little bit weaker than the 1092, simply because of this tier. Speed and altitude tend to trump everything else at tier 9. That being said, I think this has a unique place in the game. It is nice that it's not a cookie cutter of something else. There's not another plane in the game that's quite like this at this tier. It is not going to be an XF-85, stupid maneuverable, and stupid in a good way, with really weak guns, great altitude, and great, the XF-85 has all these great things and then, like, the worst guns. The Masha seems like it's got pretty good guns, I'd say. I would argue that these guns are, they do less damage per second, but we'll see how much that's actually noticed in the game, how these 23mm cannons actually operate, and their literal impact on the enemies. There's nothing else at tier 9 that has this kind of configuration, so I'd like to see how those 23mm actually work in game. Having reasonable maneuverability, above average, I'd say, especially for tier 9. At tier 9, there's not a whole lot of maneuverability at tier 9. And so, there's the Yak 19. There's the Key 162, but the Key 162's maneuverability is basically on par with the LA 160. And there's the FJ1. And everything else is not maneuverable at all. Whether it's the MiG-9, your 1092 you got here, your TA-183, those kind of planes just don't have maneuverability. So having reasonable maneuverability with pretty good airspeed could be a good combination. We'll see. All right, so now on to the missions. The missions. Some of them are really quite easy. Some of them are really, really hard. This is actually the first time I'm going to be looking at it in detail. So let's just go right down the list here. Earn 2,000 capture points in any number of battles. Okay, that's going to take some time. It just says capture points, though, so it could be defense capture points. Keep that in mind. When you're in your defensive fighter, an A7M, for instance, and you just sit in a sector getting capture points back, those count as capture points. So not overly difficult, slightly time-consuming, but not crazy time-consuming. Mission number 2. Deal 50,000 hit points of damage to aerial targets in any number of battles. No plane restriction. So this would be if you've got a tier 10 heavy fighter, take it out. You could get this mission done in less than 5 battles. If you've got an XF-90, a a 262 HG3 or a Javelin, those can do 10,000 damage easy every battle, and that's even if you're not focusing on doing hit point damage. If you go out and just kill a bunch of bombers, not even worried about the win, you can do 20,000 damage. And I'm sure people have done even more than that. So, you're going to want the highest tier heavy fighter that you're comfortable in. And the reason I say that is just because a Javelin can do a bunch of damage, if you don't fly the Javelin well or you don't feel comfortable in it, then that's not going to be your best plane for this mission, right? And I'm going to say that right now, and I'm probably going to say it even more throughout this quick list that we do. You want to, my suggestions, you want to be in a plane that you feel comfortable in, because the last thing you need to do is go crazy trying to get some damn mission completed, right? You want to be able to hopefully semi-enjoy these missions. They're going to be tedious, though, so let's get that out of the way, and that's why it's important that you're flying planes that you actually enjoy. And don't be going out in a BF-109B expecting to be doing 50,000 damage relatively soon. You're not. So that's why I'm suggesting a higher tier plane, just because you're going to be doing more damage. There's going to be more hit points to go around for you to get damage from on top of that. And so hopefully you've got a high tier plane that you're comfortable enough in, or can even just grind in enough to get this damage done. Doesn't need to be tier 10. You know, it can be getting the higher tier the better, obviously, but doesn't need to be tier 10. 50,000 damage is attainable. Mission number 3, participate in capturing 25 sectors in any number of battles. The great thing of this one is it can technically be done in any plane. Like, even fighters are good at capping sectors, typically. But that being said, you know, bombers and ground attackers, and to a lesser extent heavy fighters and multi-rolls, are going to be the bread and butter for mission number 3. Mission number 4, destroy 40 armored sections of ground target in a single battle. That is definitely going to be a ground attacker or a bomber. Whichever one you're more comfortable in. I'm getting better at bombers, but I'm still going to do this mission in a ground attacker. Mission number 5, receive an Akamatsu medal. Alright, so an Akamatsu is awarded for earning at least 400 capture points for destroying aerial targets with a light fighter in a single sortie. Pretty straightforward. It's not for capping or defending. It's for both. Capture points, single sortie, light fighter. That's funny. It says light fighter here. I call them light fighters. They're not called light fighters in the game, but apparently they're called light fighter in the wiki. Cool. Alright, so that's an Akamatsu. It's your basic medal that you can get in fighters. So if you're good with fighters, if you enjoy fighters, you've probably gotten a handful of Akamatsus, if not more. Alright, mission number 6. Earn 50,000 personal points in a number of battles. I mean, shoot, there's going to be some people out there that can get this done in 2. It's just personal points, right? So this one's awesome. Go out in the plane that you love, that you know you can get a lot of personal points in. You're not going out there for the win. You're going out there for the personal points. Go in a plane you enjoy, because you're going to be forced to go in a lot of planes you don't enjoy later on. Mission number 7, destroy 30 enemy multi-rolls in any number of battles. That shouldn't, again, this is just kind of sort of tedious, but it's not overly difficult. You're going to get stuck in some battles where you can only kill 2 multi-rolls. You're going to get in some battles where you kill like 9. So, you know, sit back and say, okay, well, on average I'll kill 4 and it's going to take me 8 games. There you go. Tedious, but not difficult. Participate in capturing 30 sectors in any number of battles. I feel like this was... Yeah, okay, so it's just more of the same, but more. So now you've got to capture 30 sectors. Again, this can be done in any plane. Be the most comfortable in a plane that you know can capture sectors. You know, ground attackers and bombers are meant for this mission, but heavy fighters and multi-rolls can do well, and hell, even fighters if you're so inclined. Mission number 9, destroy 8 enemy aircraft while defending sectors in a single battle. You're going to want to be in a fighter in this one. You're going to want to be in a fighter that is kind of sort of near their spawn point. So when you capture their sector near their spawn point and they just keep spawning towards it and you just kill them. Go in an A7M is going to be my go-to for this one, just so everybody's aware. And I'm going to do exactly what I just said and defend the hell out of a sector. And I know I can outmaneuver anything at tier 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. I can outmaneuver anything in my A7M. The guns are nice and consistent. And yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Like, I know the Key 84 is a better plane, but the A7M is going to be better at this mission. Anyway, that's what you want to do. That's the best way to do it, but it's not in a single sortie. That's a great thing about it. So if you die, you can still hop back and you know, get some more defense kills. But it's going to be a frustrating one. You're going to get some battles where you're like, I've killed 7 people and the game ends. I killed 7 people while defending, and my jerk-friendly defense aircraft killed the 8th guy. You know what I mean? So take deep breaths on these stupid missions. And I don't mean the mission's stupid, but the mission's stupid. Because don't get frustrated by, you know, other people playing the game. It's the way missions work in any game is typically counterintuitive to how you would normally be playing the game. So don't get frustrated when that counterintuitiveness bites you in the butt because you're trying to do something that the rest of your team doesn't find valuable. Mission number 10. I see a pattern here. McGuire's Medal. So McGuire, awarded for earning at least 400 capture points in a single sortie with a heavy fighter. Cool. Good to know. We can do that. Get out your favorite heavy fighter and don't die. Is really what it comes down to. Any of these sortie missions, your number one thought has to be don't die. If you don't die, you've got a much better chance of actually completing these. I'm sure a lot of us have completed these medals, before or after dying, but it's not fun. So just focus on not dying when you're in your heavy fighter, your favorite heavy fighter, and go out there and get your McGuire. Mission 11, destroy 75 sections of ground target in any number of battles. So you're going to want to take out a ground attacker or a bomber. Go out there, and it doesn't anything tier 4 and above, so this doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable in, whatever you've even got available, you can go out there and do it. If you don't have a ground attacker or a bomber, honestly, I'd say go get one. But there's plenty of them available on the lower end of the tech tree. Heavy fighters, multi-rolls can do this. It's just going to be a struggle because multi-rolls typically also have to, you don't have a rear gunner to defend you. So you're going to have to defend yourself by dogfighting in a multi-roll, which takes away from your ability to get ground targets. But there are some multi-rolls that could do this. It's just going to make it even longer. Mission number 12, destroy 100 aerial targets in any number of battles. Take out your favorite heavy fighter or fighter and go out there and just start killing people. It sounds bad, but you know what I mean. Again, focus on what's going to not drive you crazy and go ahead and get that taken care of. Number 13, earn 7,500 capture points in any number of battles. Man, that's going to take a long time because you're going to get battles where you only get 160. You're going to get battles where you get 20 because God only knows what happens, right? And so 7,500 capture points is just going to take a long time. You're just going to have to grind it. Just going to have to grind on through it. Mission number 14. Oh, God, this one might drive me crazy. This one is the one that about killed me the last time we had these types of missions. 9 enemy fighters in a single battle. So, typically on NA, there's only 2 fighters per battle. And trying to kill 9 fighters in a single battle means, killing those fighters, having them respawn, killing them again, having them respawn. It's enemy fighters, so this is not air defense aircraft. It is strictly enemy fighters. This mission 14 is by far the most difficult one I've seen so far. You're going to want to be in a fighter. You're going to want to be in a fighter that can kill other fighters. I don't even remember what I did it in. I tried to purge this mission from my brain. I probably did it in like an F-86 or something like that. Maybe a Lavochkin of some sort. I don't even remember. But man, I do not look forward to mission number 14. Flying Guardian Achievement. So Flying Guardian badge can be completed with a fighter or with a multi-role fighter. It's the same for either one. Number of enemy aircraft while defending a sector. So much like the previous mission when I talked about defending a sector with my A7M, it's kind of similar thing. You need to get this mission, you need to get 8 kills while defending a sector. The good thing of this is technically it doesn't need to necessarily be enemy fighters. If you kill like a bombing run while it's in the sector, you kill a bomber while it's in the sector, that counts towards, enemy aircraft. I think. Oof. Don't quote me on that now that I say it out loud. But Flying Guardian badge, that's what it is. Defend a sector really well. The good thing about Flying Guardian is you can get it in either a multi-role. A lot of people would want take out a BVP 210 or 212. Or you can take out a fighter. There's a lot of, a lot of the British multi-roles, the Corsairs can get a Flying Guardian badge pretty well as well. But again, you're not going out there to make it look cool. Go out there and get the mission done and move along with your life. We're still have 20 more missions at this point. Mission number 16, deal 400,000 damage to ground targets in any number of battles. You do not want, you need a ground attacker, you need a bomber, preferably a higher tier. The higher tier, the better. You can get 100,000 damage in ground damage in tier 10 bombers and ground attackers. And as such, make this a quick and easy mission. If you're stuck down at tier 5 and tier 6, it's going to take you a while, right? It's going to take you a while. And just go with the flow. You already know that going in. This is going to take a long time, no matter what the mission. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that everybody watching this has some at least tier 8 and above ground attackers and bombers, because otherwise this mission is going to take a long time, and I'm sure some other ones will too. A Winged Legend. So a Winged Legend is more than 14,000 personal points earned in a battle. Keep in mind, you get 1,000 personal points just for finishing the battle, even if you die. So if you're at 13,000 plus and you've died, just wait till the end of the battle. You get 1,000 and you get your Winged Legend right then and there. Done. Yeah, that's my tip for that one. But tip number 2, go out on a plane you feel comfortable in. Go out on a plane you enjoy flying, and that you know you can have a good chance of earning a Winged Legend. Don't go forcing yourself to play some plane that you suck at just because you're grinding that line this week. Stop your normal grinds, peoples, if you're doing these missions. Mission number 18, earn 100,000 personal points in any number of battles. Good God. I'm just going to go under the assumption that I'll get 10,000 personal points in a battle. I typically earn more than that, but then there's also going to be games where I earn 8 and 6 because the game finishes so quickly. So I'm going to say an average of 10, so that's going to take me 10 battles. I don't know how long that's going to take you, but that's still a flippin' long time. Again, go out in a plane. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it 100 more times probably. Go out in a plane that you feel comfortable in and that you enjoy. Mission number 19, destroy 5 aerial targets with a gunner in a single battle. Well, you need a plane with a gunner and not just any gunner. You can't take out your AD-10C2, your tier 5 French premium fighter, as much as you love it. You're not going to get 5 aerial targets killed with that rear gunner because that rear gunner is throwing spitballs. You want to go out in a plane that has a really good tail gunner, and you're actually going to have to set yourself up to get those kills. Typically, it's the opposite of what you're trying to do in your bombers and ground attackers. There's some bombers, obviously, you'll B-29C, where you try to get yourself into trouble, but for the most part, you might have to change your tactic a little bit when you're out there flying in your whatever, trying to get your aerial kills. I think I did this in an IL-40 or an IL-40P last go around. And I literally just went out there and had to think about it. Aerial targets is anything, so air defense aircraft count. You really want to pay attention to the low hit point aircraft that are around you so that you can try to get those kills and move along. I wonder if it was 3 aerial targets last time, not 5. I don't know. That's pretty significant. So ground attackers and bombers are going to be best for this, but there are some other planes out there that have pretty good rear gunners. Most heavy fighters, I would say, don't have a good enough rear gunner. I would think you'd probably want a ground attacker or a bomber, but, I mean, whatever floats your boat, whatever you think you can do it in. McCampbell, oh goodness, we all love the McCampbell. McCampbell is getting 10 kills in a single sortie. But those 10 kills need to include every single plane type. So you need at least 1 fighter, 1 multi-role, 1 heavy fighter, 1 ground attacker, 1 bomber. 10 total kills in a sortie. And do you need to win the frickin' battle? Do you need to win the battle? Yes, in a winning battle. So 10 aerial targets in a winning battle, 1 of each type, and you get yourself a McCampbell. A Rocketeer. Rocketeer shoots somebody with a rocket. It doesn't need to even be an air-to-air rocket. I've gotten Rocketeers in mosquitoes. You can anything with a rocket will earn you the Rocketeer achievement. Kill an aerial target with a rocket, and you're good to go. Have a plane that has rockets, preferably air-to-air rockets. But again, if you don't have an air-to-air rocket plane and you can't get one, you're not close enough to get one soon, then test your luck with a Corsair or the British multi-rolls. They're typically pretty good at it. Yeah. All right, earn 5,000 capture points in any number of battles. I feel like this was up here before, wasn't it? 5,000, 5,000. No, 7,500. Wasn't there 5,000? Am I going crazy? I am. Oh, there's 2,000. So now we're at 5,000. All right, so more capture points. Congratulations. Let's go out in a plane that you enjoy and go get some capture points and slog through that one. Participate in capturing 30 sectors in any number of battles. Holy cow. So on average, I'd say I probably capture 3 sectors in a battle, even in my ground attackers and bombers. Like sometimes I'm in a sector and the enemy, you know, either the enemy team or my team captures it before I can even do a bit of damage. I mean, I've gotten 6 and 7 sometimes, but that's not something I can count on. I can't say, oh, I've gotten 6 before, so I can get this done in 5 games. Not gonna happen. It's probably gonna take me 10 games, right? Oh man, I got to come to terms with that. So, again, a plane that you're good at capturing sectors in, ground attackers, bombers, to a lesser extent heavy fighters and multi-roles. Hell, maybe you're better at capturing sectors and heavy fighters. You might be. Go out and do it in that. Earn 5,000 personal points for destroying ground targets in a single battle. This one's built for ground attackers and for bombers. It can be done. It's not overly difficult, to be honest. If you're average to above average in your ground attacker and bomber, you can get this done in the first try. Receive Hero of the Sky achievement. So I actually talked about this in a previous video. I will put the link in the card up at the top of the video here. Basically what you need to do is, well, all these different badges and things that you can earn in your multi-roles and heavy fighters and ground attackers and whatever, they give you mission levels. Each one of those badges can earn you up to 5 mission levels. If you've earned a total of 13 mission levels, you get your Hero of the Sky badge. That's how you earn your chevrons. That's your 5th chevron. Well, it's technically a star on top of the chevrons. And so that's how you can get Hero of the Sky badge. It's basically doing what your plane is built to do. If you're a fighter, you're defending sectors and killing aerial targets and getting capture points. You know, if you're a ground attacker, you're destroying sections of ground target, you're capturing sectors, and you're doing ground damage. I don't even remember the last one, but you can look at this video. Hero of the Sky badge is pretty common. Like, I mean, it's not easy, but people have gotten it. A lot of people have gotten it. So, again, check out the video that I've got on the card here. For this one, you're going to want the plane that you're most comfortable in doing its own job. So yeah, you might like the XP-54, but you go out there and just defend a sector. Well, the XP-54 is a heavy plane. Its chevron earning system doesn't revolve around defending a sector. It revolves around attacking and killing aerial targets and getting capture points and stuff like that. So, so yeah, you're gonna want to go in a plane that can earn chevrons pretty well. Ground attackers typically, like, that's all you can do is ground attack type items typically. Same with bombers. So those earning chevrons and bombers and ground attackers is typically the quote-unquote easiest way to go. And good thing about Hero of the Sky is you don't need a win to earn one. Earn 3,000 capture points for destroying ground targets in any number of battles. This is going to take so long if you don't use a bomber or a ground attacker. So use a bomber or a ground attacker. Luckily, it doesn't need to be high tier. It's just capture points. I mean, you can earn these capture points at tier 4. It's the same. You're earning points at tier 4, the same that you earn them at tier 10. So just go in a plane that you're comfortable in and that you enjoy capturing sectors, but destroying the ground targets. That's the key. Being in a heavy fighter, you're going to get distracted by those airplanes, those shiny airplanes that you want to shoot down. And so I would recommend being in a ground attacker or a bomber because you can just focus on killing those ground targets. Destroy 75 defense aircraft in any number of battles. So you're going to want to, I mean, whatever you're comfortable in, a fighter, multi-role, or heavy fighter, it's going to be your best option for this. It's just going to be tedious. Even if you destroy 5 every game, that's still 15 battles. Man, these are going to be a lot of battles for over 30 days that we're going to be putting in if you're going to be trying to do these. I'm going to be trying to do these. I might melt into the ground, but we'll see. Mission number 28 deals 600,000 hit points of damage to ground targets in any number of battles. Again, man, this is a lot. You're going to have to do it in a bomber or a ground attacker. Hopefully you've got those high tier ones because, for the love of God, that's going to take a long time. Let's say you do 50,000 damage per battle. That's still going to take you 12 battles. So they really want you to earn this, right? Destroy 6 enemy attack aircraft in a single battle. So this might actually be best at tier 4. So this is killing a ground attack aircraft, right? The lower tiers typically have more than just 2 per battle that you would have at tier 5 and above. Tier 4 typically it has 2, but sometimes it'll actually have more. I know like tier 2 has, typically you've got like 6 on each side. But tier 4 sometimes you'll get a handful. It might not work with all the missions going on and everybody flying. You may only keep running into battles with just 2. But again, it doesn't matter. Go to a battle that you're going to be able to own the sky, so to speak, and get those 6 enemy attack aircraft taken out. You're going to want to be in a heavy fighter. That's typically going to be your best bet, or a hard-hitting fighter or multi-role. I mean, I guess technically you could be in another ground attacker and just kill the ground attackers that are coming near you, but you'd have to be in the right ground attacker. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. Good luck with that one. Although this one shouldn't be, hopefully, knock on wood, too difficult. Mission number 30, a Golubev. Oh, man, a Golubev. So at least I finally feel a little bit more comfortable with Golubev. At least I understand what I need to do a little bit better. A Golubev is getting a Rocketeer, but 3 times in a single sortie and winning the battle. So it's one of those in a sortie winning the battle type medals. And so, yeah. I mean, I've gotten Golubevs, but not won the battle, so I didn't get the Golubev. I've gotten, 2 Rocketeers, and on my 3rd one was killed by the guy I was trying to kill. It happens. So you just need to take... This one, you will need a plane that has air-to-air rockets. Well, that's not strictly true. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier with a plane that's got air-to-air rockets. How about we say that? I think one of the Golubevs I've gotten was in the Mosquito. But that was just ridiculous luck. I got behind some bombing runs and killed some bombers at the last minute. Your best bet is going to be with a BVP-210, a BVP-212, an F-94D. The BVP-215 just really doesn't get a lot of opportunity for air-to-air rockets, but you would already know that if you've got that plane. It's really going to be your best option. So BVP-210 is probably going to be your best bet. If you've got it, go take it out. Good luck. And, may God have mercy on your soul. Mission number 31, destroy 20 enemy bombers in any number of battles. Thank God it's in any number of battles. Some people were joking around in my Discord that it was going to be like kill 9 enemy bombers in a single sortie with a multi-roll. We were, yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyway, so destroy enemy bombers. I think this would include the bombing runs. We'll have to find out. If we ever get to mission 31, like if I survive that long, we'll be able to tell you. If it includes bombing runs, it'll certainly make the mission go quicker because it's not like you need to do it in a win. It's just strictly, killing bombers. So let's go under the assumption that killing those bomber flights counts towards this and will make your life easier where you can get this done in like 4 battles. Otherwise, this thing's going to take you 10 battles or so. Maybe not 10, but I mean more than you want it to take, that's for sure. For this, you're going to want to be in a heavy fighter. Honestly, a heavy fighter at a tier where you're not going to keep running into the overpowered bombers. So probably like a tier 6 heavy fighter. An ME-410 would be great for this one. Flying Revenge achievement. This one's a bomber and a attack aircraft. Flying Revenge. Okay, so Flying Revenge is destroy ground targets. Sections, parts, not even sections, excuse me, parts of ground targets. So if you're looking at an anti-aircraft section, it's got the gun and then it's got 3 other little parts. Sometimes 2 of the parts are heavily armored. Sometimes all 3 of them are lightly armored. Anyway, that would count as 4 parts. And so this mission for ground attackers, you need to destroy 100 parts to get a Flying Revenge badge. Or if you're in a bomber, you need to destroy 150 parts. When I'm in a ground attacker, I tend to shoot just the lightly armored parts of the anti-aircraft, just because that section of the target typically has 2, and I can at least kill 2 things, and it's 2 towards my 100. This could be done very quickly. It could also take a while if you get stuck on a team that doesn't want the game to be going. It could go short either way. If you steamroll the enemy team, then you're not going to get your 100. If the enemy team steamrolls you, you're not going to get your 100. So you need to get one of those battles where the good thing about Flying Revenge achievement is you don't need to win to get it. So you just need the teams to be reasonably competitive, and you can get a flying achievement. It needs to be in a ground attacker or a bomber. That's the only two choices. So tier 4 above, you can earn a Flying Revenge. Whatever you're more comfortable in, remember, whatever you're more comfortable in. Holy freaking crap. Deal 100,000. Deal 1,000,000 hit points of damage to ground targets in any number of battles. That's just going to take a long time. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just going to take a damn long time. I would be surprised if anybody completed this in less than 10 battles. And that would be really honestly saying something. If I complete this in 10 battles, I would be so happy. Because what happens is, yeah, I've gotten games where I've done 100,000 plus ground damage. But then if you're doing too good, the game's over and you barely got 50,000. If I do 50,000 ground damage every game, it's still 20 battles. That's just so much. So much. Okay. Well, that is what it is. You gotta be in a high tier. Like, you've got to tier 9, tier 10. Otherwise, you're just never going to get past this. Honestly, if you don't have tier 9, tier 10 ground attackers before this, probably not going to be this far anyway. But at this point, like, hopefully you were able to achieve the EF 131 or something like that, since they're on discount as of today. Destroy 9 enemy fighters in a single battle. Good God. Like, it wasn't bad enough at number 14. Now it's at number 39 as well, just in case it wasn't difficult enough. All right, cool story, bro. And then last but not least, a Gabreski, which I was expecting to be on here. Gabreski's probably one of the more difficult ones. I would say is probably one of the more difficult ones to achieve. A Gabreski is awarded for destroying 10 aerial targets and getting 7 enemy ground targets knocked out. That would be difficult enough. So obviously you need a plane that can do well versus both the air and the ground. But it needs to be done in a single sortie. Makes it infinitely more difficult. Oh, and you need a win, which basically means flip a coin, right? And unfortunately, Gabreski is so not in line with... You would think, okay, destroy all these... destroy aircraft, destroy ground targets. You're setting yourself up for a win. But to get a Gabreski, it's such specificity that sometimes you're like, well, I need to get an aerial target killed. But... because I've only got 9. But we need to make sure we capture this sector. So, like, sometimes the Gabreski will actually pull you away from the mission, because you need to win. If you don't win, it's like, sometimes you're just damned if you do, damned if you don't with the Gabreski. I've only got a Gabreski twice. Funnily enough, it was in the J7W2. Both times. A tier 9 Japanese multi-role with kind of weak bombs and really strong guns. But it worked for me. Gabreskis are going to be best in multi-rolls just because you can do ground damage and air damage. There are some heavy fighters that can do it really well, especially the British heavy fighters, because they've got so much ground damage that they can do. But I've seen it done in all kinds of planes. I guarantee that somebody can do it in planes like German ground attackers, because they're really good at taking out air targets. Maybe not 10 air targets, but it might possibly be done. Hell, I've seen somebody do it in a Swift, which is a tier 10 British fighter of all things. No bombs or rockets on it, and they still got a Gabreski. But that person's, on the next level. Next level. They're a couple levels ahead of me, that's for damn sure. But anyway, so your Gabreski you're gonna need to be in a plane that can do it all, literally. So multi-rolls are built for that. But you need to go in something that you're comfortable with, and good luck again to you. And then after all that, you will get yourself a flippin' Masha. Is the Masha worth it after all that? I don't know. I can't say. You know, comparing a plane and its metrics is one thing. I'd have to fly it, and obviously I can't fly it till I win it. So, you know, what the hell am I gonna do? I guess I'm gonna go try to win it, and hopefully try to win it quickly enough, which isn't gonna happen in at all. But I'm gonna try to win it quickly enough to tell you all if it's even worth anything at all. One thing we haven't talked about, and I know we're like God only knows how long into this video, is the earning potential of this plane. It's a Tier 9 premium, which you would think would mean it gets, you know, it's going to get you a lot of credits. It's going to earn a lot of credits. I mean, Tier 8 premiums earn a lot of credits. This should earn even more credits. I'd like to think it's on par with an XF-85, at least, considering it's Soviet. Who knows, it might be more. But we just don't know enough about it. Like I said, hopefully this helps. It's a lot. It's a lot of missions. It's probably more than most people are going to be able to grind out. I suspect most people are going to be buying this plane, or most people are just not going to be getting it, because it's going to be really expensive, both in either time put into it or money put into it. But it's unique. It looks cool. We'll see if it's actually any good. And I'll make sure I get a bottle of ibuprofen ready for these missions. I will be, I know I'm at the very end now. If anybody's still here, you know, give me a thumbs up in the freaking comments below, and I'll give you a thumbs up back because you made it. I'll be posting videos every single day on the grind. As I get missions completed, I'll post the video of the mission completed. If it's, you know, not complete crap and I just kind of stumbled into, you know, the mission being completed. But anyway, hopefully we all survive this. I hope this was helpful, and yeah, have yourself a good day and a good 30 days. Bye.